godson number 2 texted me. Pardon my bleary eyes. Been on the... Are they red? Yeah. Not good. To wish me a happy birthday. And it's my birthday today, and I'm living in a shed. If you'd told me when I was 19 that when I turned 59, I'd be living in a shed, because I woke up in this shed this morning on my 59th birthday. If you'd told me, if you'd given me a crystal ball and said, that's you, 40 years from now, I would have said, actually, I would have said, yeah, I can see that. I can imagine that. But actually, I'm in isolation. I'm at close contact yet again. But my godson, when I mentioned I was in a shed, he said, more time for podcasts. And I've actually been forgetting to make podcasts for the last few months. I've been busy. And I thought to myself, yeah, all right, I'll make one on the spot. But I had to think, what about? So I just thought to myself, what's the oddest thing I've heard lately? And the oddest thing I've heard lately was something I heard on the radio about an observant Hasidic Jew. And this guy, is very famous. He's in New York, and he speaks with a Jewish New York accent. But I like that accent because I've seen Seinfeld, you get used to it. And anyway, this guy, I think he's a multi-artist. I think he sings, and I think he paints. And I know that he's an observant Hasidic Jew. So this episode is essentially about, a Jew, his rabbi, and a painting walk into a bar, something like that, But this guy said, I am an observant Hasidic Jew. I think he copped some flack because what he's been doing is getting traditional Hasidic songs, which are quite slow and Jewish in nature. Yeah, I know what Jewish music sounds like because I go to church. And some of our songs are a little bit Jewish, just in the minor scales and all that sort of stuff, Anyway, he's been speeding them up and getting wildly popular. They've been calling him the Lady Gaga of Hasidism, if that's a word, because apparently he's wildly popular. Now, assuming that I'm not mixing up my BBC episodes, I think he's a painter also. Unless I listened to 2 BBC episodes and one was about a painter and one was about a musician, but I think it's the same guy. Anyway, the point is, he went to his rabbi and said, I'm a bit worried because I'm an observant, Orthodox, Hasidic Jew. I'm sure there are some unorthodox Hasidic Jews. Who knows? I'm not of that set. We're kind of fringe Jews, we Catholics. And we still think we are the chosen ones, though. We learnt that bit. Anyway, so what happened was, he went to his rabbi and he said, my dad is a bit upset that I've been speeding up the Hasidic songs. And the rabbi, I think, said, that's okay, don't worry about that one. And he said, I'm also a painter, I paint paintings, but I still want to be an Orthodox Jew, and we Orthodox Jews have to do, we have to be observant. We have to do certain things to stay observant. We have to stay kosher, and I'm sure we have to do something to do with paintings. Otherwise, maybe my art, will become more important to me than Jesus. Oh no, I got that bit wrong, didn't I? Than Jewishness, So he went to his rabbi and he said, what do I do? Except in a New York Jewish accent. And the rabbi came back with a very interesting response. He said, yes, it is true. You cannot be both a fully fledged artist and a fully fledged Orthodox Hasidic Jew as well. So here's what you got to do. And this is why I love religion. You know, I'd never be able to make a podcast like this if there was no such thing as religion. If there was no such thing as religion, you know, I reckon I'd be a glorified monkey, you know, because all I could say is, you know, I'd have to get onto a podcast and say, I saw a banana today, and there was nothing more to it than the fact that it was a banana. You know, because that's what monkeys do. Yeah. But, you know, I could say, saw a banana today, and it reminded me of an album cover by, you know, Velvet Underground or something, and I don't even know why they used that banana on that album cover, but I'm sure there was a very good reason. I think it had something to do with Andy Warhol, and then I could fly off onto a tangent and talk all about Andy Warhol and these bananas. That's what's different about humans. And getting on to this other guy, this rabbi, he said, be a famous artist, but don't be a full artist. Be an incomplete artist. You could be a complete Jew, but you cannot be a complete artist. And he said, how shall I do this, sir? You know, or sire, or your holiness, or whatever they are. And he said, well, for example, if you're drawing my portrait of a rabbi, leave off my ear, or one of my bangs. They have bangs. If you're behind, you know, can you stick those things in an inkwell? If you're standing behind if you're sitting in class behind the Jewish kid, can you grab his bang and go, you know, like we used to do with the girls? Do you know what an inkwell is, son? Or do you just know what a keyboard is? You know? Anyway, and he said, you know, and for example, you know, I don't know what, if you're drawing an aeroplane, leave a wing off. You know? And the Jewish guy probably said, what if I'm drawing a picture of the Battle of Britain and the wing has actually fallen off? And I'm making this bit up. and you know, and it's flying towards the ground and the wing has actually fallen off. I want the wing to be, ooh, good one. The rabbi might say, for that one, put the wing back on. The artist said, all right, but wouldn't that be an overly complete painting? Very nice, very nice. Have a wing and a tail off. Always make sure the art is incomplete. That's the key, said the rabbi. The painter went away very happy, and he's become a celebrated painter, whoever this guy is. Can't remember names. It was something Yiddish. He's become a celebrated painter. And to a certain extent, it's become a signature, the fact that he leaves one thing off all the time, you know. So, you know, he might be drawing a car. It's got 3 wheels. Unless it's a 3-wheeled car. There's some of those in England, in which case he'd leave 2 wheels. Oh, you know what I'm getting at. Anyway, it's become a signature. We used to have a cartoonist here in Melbourne called Jeff Hook. And his pictures, his cartoons, were complete only when he had added his signature, which was a hook. You had to go looking for that hook. You'd go and buy the newspaper so you could look up that cartoon and then see who could find the hook the first, you know, quickest. So who won? So that's signature. This guy, his signature has become the fact that he leaves one thing out. So you could grab one of his paintings and say, oh, what's missing here, you know? He could draw a picture of me and my brain would be missing, and that would be very cerebral, you know, because you'd be looking and looking and looking, and I'd be the only one who could guess. And everybody knows me, you know. And I know what's missing there. Actually, for me, he could overcompensate and put a brain in, but then he runs into that other problem again. Then he would have to take my ear off, you know. But what if he was drawing Van Gogh? Van Gogh, or however you say that in Dutch. What would he do with Van Gogh? He would have to take the other ear off. Point is, this guy, you can look at any one of his paintings and there's something missing in his life. Baby, It's You. That used to be a song. And I thought about that, and I was thinking, Now, the old rabbi might have painted this guy into a corner a little bit, because the very definition of a complete painting, he's become a complete artist by accident. Because the very definition of a complete artist, as far as one of his paintings is concerned, is if there's something missing. That is a complete painting. The rabbi's outwitted himself, I think. See, this is how art can get tricky, and religion can disappear up its own arse. I'm going to say it. Right, this is not for children all of a sudden. But it's also wonderful, the fact that things can get so crazy when you mix art with religion. When you mix anything human with anything else human, you get really odd things, which all goes to prove that we're not monkeys. Although monkeys are up for a laugh, so comedy might work for those guys. Anyway, now, what would happen if he went back to the rabbi right now and he said, I've got a problem? It has occurred to me that my paintings are complete when there's something missing. As soon as I've painted something, when I'm up to the second last thing in that painting, everyone says, that painting's finished. And when people are saying that so much to me, I'm starting to think that I'm a complete artist. You're a, what artist? It's still a kid's show. Says the rabbi, but good point. It's a little bit like that Spitfire, isn't it? And artist said, no, it's not. Oh, who's the rabbi? Yes, the rabbi. All right. The rabbi goes, well, what would he have to do then? Next step along will be leaving two things off. That's what advice the rabbi would have to give at that point in time. Now, assuming this guy lived a long life, you could then, the rabbi, you'd have to keep coming back to the rabbi, and the rabbi told him to leave 3 things off and 4 things off. Sooner it'd just be a white canvas, unless he was doing a very detailed drawing. But that just depends on how long he's likely to live. But the point is, his paintings could get quite odd. And it just goes to show how weird it can get, being a human being. Who would think up something like that? This is why we need religious people in the world. This is why we need religion. Who would, think up such a thing as this that would justify a podcast like this? The whole issue of, a monkey would never think to paint a painting and leave one thing off. This is why we need religion.